how's everyone doing? It's Ashley here from Richoux on Demand, and yes, like I said before, next video. I just want to tell you guys an overview of my VSG journey, because I did have someone comment in the comment section and ask for that video. As always, if you're new here, thanks so much for subscribing. Thanks so much for stopping by. In a time like what's been going on now, I'm very, very proud of the little platform that we've built here, of like-minded individuals who feel like inclusion should not be a suggestion, and tolerance for things that are not the societal norm should be the societal norm. You shouldn't have to worry about judgment on anything you choose in life, anything that brings you happiness or anything like that. So thank you so much for being here. Consider subscribing down below and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss an upload. Okay, so my VSG story. Maybe I should take my glasses off so y'all can see me better. Better. So my VSG story starts like most people's. I was very, very overweight and very sluggishly tired. I think a lot of people who are overweight use the term, oh, I'm not unhealthy, I just am overweight. And I think that's what I used as a excuse not to get healthier for a long time. I'll go to the doctor's office and they would do my blood work, and I would get my health blood sugar tested, my blood pressure, my cholesterol levels, things like that tested, and they would be in the normal range. And I would say, well, that just means I'm overweight, I'm not unhealthy. But the reality of the situation is your body frame is not designed, the human body isn't designed to be over a certain amount. And that's just how I feel, because things were hurting on me. I was having pain. I had a very young child at the time. Eric was only 2. He wasn't even 2 yet when I started thinking about getting the surgery done, and he was becoming very active, and I was super winded doing the simplest things with him, and it was just becoming a lot. And I'm trying to stop looking at the viewfinder over here. Ignore the messes back here. House is still being redone. So yeah, that being said, in December of 2017, I decided to start the process of looking into weight loss surgery. I tried so many times in the past to lose weight, just through calorie restriction, through being more active, and I would lose 20 pounds, I'd gain it right back. I'd lose 10 pounds, I'd gain it right back. And it was just a yo-yo effect, and anybody that's been on a yo-yo diet situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So so in December of 2017, I decided to start my journey. So I did a lot of research, and I looked into gastric bypass, I looked into VSG, which is vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which is the surgery I ended up choosing. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And I looked into duodenal. I'll put the name somewhere in here, but basically it's a combination of VSG and the gastric bypass. But the gastric bypass and the duodenal surgery was not very appealing to me, because the idea of having my intestines shortened and rearranged and stapled and moved around, it just was a lot for me to digest, and I just felt like VSG was a more easier to comprehend procedure for me. So I ended up going with VSG. I'd heard that the weight loss with VSG is more gradual, comparatively. I mean, it's not gradual, but it's more gradual comparatively to the other procedures. And I wanted to minimize the saggy skin effect as much as possible with a weight loss surgery. So in December, I looked into the requirements to get it paid for by my insurance at the time, and at the time I was with Blue Cross Blue Shield. If you want a more in-depth video about getting it approved through your insurance, I will do that as well. But I basically had to get a psych evaluation, and there wasn't a waiting period or anything, so I had to get a psych evaluation and then just find an approved center, which is a Blue Distinct center, and there weren't any in the state I was living in at the time. So at the time I was living in Mississippi, and I ended up having to have my surgery in Louisiana because that was the closest blue distinct center. It's a very long process, and I can explain it to you better in a video specifically about insurance approval. So if this is something you're interested in, leave a comment below and let me know. So by February of 2018, it was my, of course, all this is going on while it's my senior year, finishing my accounting degree, because I'd gone back to school after Eric was born. So I'm finishing my accounting degree. I'm trying to figure out offers as far as full-time employment, so there's a lot going on. So by February of 2018, I'd been approved for my surgery, and I had to pay my out-of-pocket portion. So my out-of-pocket portion was 25% of the surgery, up to a total out-of-pocket of $4,000 or something like that. I have to look at all my paperwork to be sure, and I have it somewhere, but I believe that's what it was, because I don't think I ended up paying total with anesthesia and the doctor and the facility and everything. I ended up paying total like $3,200. So and I chickened out at first. I got approved in February, and I chickened out because I was like, I'm scared of someone cutting on my stomach and me having a bad reaction, because I don't normally heal well from traumatic injuries to my body. Childbirth, gallbladder removal, I didn't heal well. Not I didn't heal well, but I didn't heal in the timeline that they said that I should. It took me longer. I had more issues, but not complications, just things that can happen to make you be uncomfortable for a longer amount of time. So I chickened out in February, and I finished my senior year in school. So at end of April, I graduated from college, and I had my full-time offer due to start in June 1st. Well, around May 1st, I called my doctor, and I decided I was going to get the surgery. I thought about it after I graduated, and I was saying, you know, if I don't get it done now, I don't know if I decide to get it done later, if I would have the opportunity to, with my work schedule and everything. So I called them up, and I asked them if they'd be able to get me in a month or two, and they were able to get me in a week or two. So I called them around May 1st, and May 9th was my surgery date. So paid my money. May 9th was my surgery date. I went in, I had my surgery. I had a great surgeon. His name is Dr. Walter Sarter, out of Monroe, Louisiana. He's amazing. He's done this procedure countless times. He has great follow-up, and I enjoyed every single aspect of dealing with him as a surgeon. He's highly professional. He's highly detailed for your particular case. He's highly detailed with your particular case, not just trying to give you a broad cookie cutter, you know, run-of-the-mill type of situation. He really hones in on what your specific needs are and caters your care to those needs. So I had my surgery. It went well. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days, the day of the surgery and the day after, and then the morning after that I was released. And I went through the normal things after surgery. You know, you don't really want to drink anything, but they make you drink things. They make you walk around. I didn't have to do that test that a lot of people say, where they make you drink something and they watch to make sure there aren't any leaks. I didn't have any leaks, but I didn't end up having to do that. I know that's something that some people say they have to do before they can leave. I didn't end up having to do any of that. And so I was walking around, I was sipping my water. Y'all, literally, it was like wet your lips, sip of water. I could not, it's like my stomach would not hold anything. And I know that's the case with a lot of people, but I'm just saying, when they say you can't drink, even though they tell you you need to drink, but you feel like you physically cannot drink, that's no joke. You feel like you cannot swallow anything. So yeah, I pretty much sipped on water. For those 2 days I was in the hospital. They tried to give me broth and things like that. I didn't want any of those things. I sipped on it here and there, but nothing. So I go home, and I'm home resting. Same thing, sipping on water, trying to get the Premier Protein down, because that's something that they really push when you have vertical sleeve gastrectomy or any weight loss surgery, is getting your protein in as much as possible, because you aren't working out, you aren't consuming food, So they really want you to get in that Premier Protein beverage because it's 30 grams of protein. Sipping on that, and you guys, within a week, I was severely dehydrated. Severely dehydrated. I mean, my skin looked like sandpaper. I had this terrible taste in my mouth. When you're trying to ingest things in your stomach doesn't want to hold anything, you are excuse me if this is too much for you, you are vomiting, and once you vomit so much to where you vomit up the water, there's nothing left to come up but bile and stomach acid. And that's what was happening to me, and it was this bitter taste, and it was just awful. I did not realize, I thought I was having some kind of crazy complication because it didn't make sense to me. I was doing what they were telling me to do. I was trying to sip water, I was walking, but my body just did not react well to that type of trauma. And you know, it was like my body was attacking itself, and I was borderline depressed, and I was lost on what to do. I had my mother drive me all the way back to Monroe, Louisiana to have a checkup with my doctor to make sure everything was fine. And that's when I did the drink test to make sure I didn't have any leaks. I didn't have any leaks. And he found that I was severely dehydrated. So they put 5 or 6 bags, I think, of IV fluids in my system. And then I was sent home. And like I said, nothing negative about the doctor, but that's all they could do. It made no sense for me to stay in the hospital at that point after that. So I just made a point to try to get the water down, to stay hydrated. At the 2 or 3 week mark, you can progress to, you're supposed to be able to progress to the pureed foods. And so I progressed to the pureed foods, but it was not like pureed chicken and stuff, crazy stuff that I hear people talk about. It was like I would make bland potato soup, which was really like boiled seasoned potatoes, and puree it up until it was like basically a tiny bit thicker than water. So basically seasoned potato water is what I would take in, and things like that. And the real problems came when I was supposed to progress to the mushy food stage, which is like eggs and things like that. I couldn't do it. I did not progress from the pureed food / whole liquid stage for a month and a half, almost 2 months. So for 2 months straight, I was on some form of a liquid diet. So I was drinking my clear liquids, full liquids, and pureed food, which was basically glorified full liquid, for almost 2 months straight. And true, I dropped 50 pounds fast, no problem, as far as dropping the weight. But I was miserable, and I was crying, and I was trying to figure out what went wrong in my situation. And I'm not saying this to scare, I'm not telling this story to scare anybody to not have the surgery. I just want you guys to have a clear understanding of what could happen. And I didn't go into this thinking that the surgery was going to be like my saving grace or anything like that. I knew I was still going to have to work with the surgery, and it was just a tool to get me to where I wanted to be. But the issue is, you don't know how your body's going to react to that trauma, because the reality of the situation is, when you have surgery, when you have major surgery and you go under anesthesia, whether it be inpatient or outpatient, you are inflicting trauma upon your body, and your body has a natural urge to defend itself, even if that means making you feel like crap. That's just the reality of the situation. So for 2 months, in 2 months I dropped 50 pounds. By the 3rd month I did progress to mushy food, but I didn't even try eggs again. I didn't try eggs again until about 6 months out. So by about 6 months out, I pretty much could eat what I wanted, with the exception of beef. I couldn't eat beef. Beef was something that didn't sit well on my stomach. But I knew pretty early on with my situation with VSG that I was going to have to use this strictly as a catalyst, that this surgery wasn't going to make me drop 100 pounds in 6 months, because I hadn't dropped 100 pounds in 6 months. By the 6 month mark, I lost 60 pounds. Not even 60 pounds, like 56 pounds. So I lost 50 pounds in 2 months. And then for 4 months after that, I didn't drop any more weight aside from 6 pounds. That's what I want you guys to understand. And I wasn't eating a lot, but that trauma to my body and my body being in survival mode made my body not want to release anything. It made it not want, it felt like my body was very comfortable at that 50 pound mark, and it was in survival mode. That's how it felt. So at month 6, I took it upon myself to do some research, and my skin was wrecked. My skin was still wrecked. I mean, I had severe dry skin that I still struggle with today. Severe dry skin. And so I found keto, and through keto and intermittent fasting is how I lost an additional 30 to 40 pounds, and that's how I've gotten to the weight that I am today, even though I have gained about 10 pounds, but we're not talking about that. But yeah, so, and I was able to maintain it through occasional fasting and a keto-esque diet. So I have eaten carbs, of course, since then, but that's pretty much how my VSG journey went. I am 2 years out from my surgery now. I haven't gained a substantial amount of weight or anything. I haven't lost any more weight either, which is why I've come pretty much full circle back to keto to drop some weight for my wedding. And that's just a general overview of my VSG surgery story. If you want any in-depth videos about what exactly the full liquid diet is, what exactly the pureed food diet is, there's countless videos here, but if you want me to do one, I will. Let me know down below. If you want to know how I went about my psych evaluation, if you want to know how I went about getting my insurance to pay for most of my surgery, all of that stuff, if you want to hear it, put a comment down below and I will do a video on it. But I just wanted to come here and sit here and let you guys know how my VSG journey went, because if it's something you're thinking about or something you've heard about, just know it's not a get skinny quick thing, and you have no idea of knowing how your body is going to react to that surgery, because it is trauma at the end of the day, trauma to your body. While it may be necessary in your case, if you feel like this surgery is the answer to catapulting your weight loss journey or kick-starting your weight loss journey for you to continue through a diet and exercise regimen later, just know that it's still trauma. So yeah, that's what happened. Like I said, anything else you want to know, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to either make a video about it or answer your question about it. Now I'm about to go eat because I just got home from work. And yeah, so if you haven't already, find us over on Instagram at Richoux_OD, or consider clicking the link down below and join the tribe of 50,000 individuals who feel like you get to choose what your version of happiness looks like, no matter what it looks like, no matter how it's packaged. So thanks so much for joining me today, and until next time, bye.